No videos here for a while as I wanted to do this video next. And I had to think about it. But here we are. In this video I would like to speak about the setup that I'm playing with at home and with a band since 2019. This is not another video about modulars and also not about a single pedal that does it all. It is about how I built a pedalboard only Ampless setup. And I will explain how I prepared this and what principles I followed. I will also sum up some golden rules in the end for you if you like to do something similar. So the first and general principles I followed with this setup was to get something amp-like with analog gear, minimum weight and minimum complexity in general, but with the convenience of switching sounds because I don't like step dancing on pedals while playing. This is not meant to be a setup you may either copy one by one or just dislike, but I hope it is helpful for you to find your own setup similar to mine if you're interested in it. To help you understand this, first some theory. This approach may not please everyone. If you are, for example, playing in a band with other guys that rely on full stack amps, you may not get happy with this. But if you're fine with a combo amplifier, let's say one with single 12-inch speaker, then I believe you could do what I did. And let me add that this setup is still very loud, so you don't lose that. My approach relies in general on the idea that pedals are a great source of more or less any kind of sound you want. If you're not familiar with the wide range of pedals available, there are also other video channels focusing on them and probably a million videos about it. What you finally need is a pedal platform amplifier to run all your favorite pedals into it. This is something like a Fender clean channel or any kind of clean or on the edge of breakup channel of an amp. This amp does not need to have your favorite distortion sounds built in. They should be in the pedals. But of course you need the amp as it completes the sound of pedals, as most of them will not sound great without it. With replacing this pedal platform amp with a pedal platform pedal, you finally have your Ampless setup. I will show some examples later in this video. But there are many more ways available now that existed for me back 2019. Finally, you may also decide to try a FR speaker and of course cap simulation. Here seems to be another nemesis for many guitar players and most YouTubers I've seen. I myself do believe that not all FR speakers sound the same, and they are not equal to any kind of monitor speaker lying around already. If you're willing to try them out, do what you should do when buying a regular amp. Test them with setups you like, play them on the same loudness level you would play an amp, and decide by ear. Now, let me give you some examples here. I started with building this $3 pedalboard from scrap wood, simply because I wanted to give room for iterations and improvements. I still had a combo back then and started with some pedals. Then I decided a replacement for the preamp power amp first. I used the Hotone Mojo Attack. Important to say now that everything I'm showing here is not a recommendation. I also did buy all this gear with my own money and years ago. I went for this because it has a Fender type channel and I found that this worked for me as a pedal platform. The other channel should sound like a rectifier, but it's awful and I never used it. I used the power output and ran it first into the speaker of the old combo amplifier. Right after this, I also went and replaced the speaker with a FR speaker and sold my old combo amplifier. I gained money in the bank and lost 50 pounds of weight. That was nice. I also used the simple cap simulation of the Hotone, as this was fine for me playing it live and loud. Only because I don't need the power output anymore, I wanted to get rid of the extra power supply also, and I tried to find something running with 9 volts. But let me shorten this up. I moved the Ampless grid into this box, and I use it now for 3 years. First here there is a pedal switcher or looper. It allows switching between pedals even with analog gear. Then here is some room for effect pedals that should be in front of overdrive and distortion. I had something like a phaser here, or like this funny pedal, but find your own. Next there is the main part of the sound. In my case, 3 pedals with 3 types of overdrive and distortion. I sometimes use only one, sometimes I stack 2 of them for a more pushed sound. Pedal stacking is an important way to vary your sound with a minimum of gear and also helps making your setup sound unique. Of course, at least one of these pedals is always in the loop, as the pedal platform alone is not a sound to use. Then there comes the equalizer, but I use it as an effect pedal. I like the sound effect of playing through a phone line, cutting off all highs and lows, and I use it quite often for intros and breaks. Then there is place for more effects like post-distortion or in the effects loop. Here is my delay with this tap tempo connected to it. I normally prefer mini pedals, but in this case I decided for one with an external tap tempo. As you may know, this is of course not an analog pedal. This is a digital one, but it only mixes in the digital delay to the buffered analog signal, so it is not ruining the analog path. Finally, here's space for your preferred preamp pedal, and if needed, an extra cap simulation. Over time, the Hotone, then an old AMT F1, and the simplifier has been my choice of preamp pedals. The power supply here is powering everything. This is it. So with the so-called simplifier, I recorded my pedal videos and I will continue recording more. That's why this is now again on a scrapwood board. This is also my setup for testing self-made pedals. The next iteration will be something I may present in another video. A setup with only self-made pedals. This would be the perfect time to end the video with some audio examples, but I'm sorry, I decided not to end with audio examples for a good reason. Recording something directly to digital audio or with a good microphone will sound either good or bad to you on YouTube, but it will not prove anything I was talking about today. The best way might be to do an A/B test with my rig and with some regular amplifiers at the same volume levels, but I don't own such an amp anymore for comparison. Finally, I made this video as I found out for myself that analog pedals and FR/FR worked fine for me. I once heard someone say that finally it is important that the gear you use is able to inspire your playing, and this setup did that for me. So let me sum up instead with my golden rules for Ampless rig. Thank you for watching and let me know what you think.